Hey everybody, so I'm sure that there are a good number of people right now talking about Beast Games, the record-breaking Mr. Beast Amazon Prime reality television show.
If I win $5 million, I could use that to make passive income for the rest of my life.
And I'm sure that much of that conversation is tied in some way to the show's creator, the Beast. Mr. Beast, aka Jimmy Donaldson, is not an uncontroversial figure. The world's biggest YouTuber, he's been at the center of his fair share of drama and scandal, and that's even the case about the production of this very show. I'd broadly say that among adults who have a strong opinion on him, most don't like him very much, and I'm guessing that this aversion will be a very relevant factor in the way that people digest and discuss Beast Games. That stuff, scandal and controversy, it's not really what this video is about. I don't say that to imply that I'm superior to those conversations, it's just that I'm not a journalist or anything, and there are certainly many other videos you can watch with that kind of discussion. No, personally, I'm interested in the games. I am interested in Beast Games. I'm interested in the games that this man has his contestants play on the road to $5 million because they are genuinely fascinating to me. Let me cut to the chase here. At various points watching this show, I truly felt like I was going insane, that I couldn't believe or accept what I was watching, and I want you to feel that way too. I'm gonna review every game in Beast Games, from the good to the bad, and we're gonna come to some conclusions. Conclusions about games and reality television and storytelling, and about Mr. Beast. And with that, let's do this. Episode 1. Small Beast, Huge Money, Wow. Our show begins with a sweeping shot of 1,000 contestants. This is truly a massive number of people to start a show with, and there's something vaguely impressive about seeing them all. Mr. Beast stands amongst his people, and we begin. Game 1. The contestants can choose to press a button. The ones who press it leave the show and split $1 million.
Those of you that eliminate yourselves will evenly split this $1 million I'm standing behind.
In the end, around 50 people leave, and they each get like 20K. So Mr. Beast has always been money first, right? The spectacle of his YouTube channel has always been that he gives away massive amounts of money.
And I've trapped each of them in their very own glass cube. The last one to leave their cube is going to win $500,000.
And here, I take Beast to be nodding to that aesthetic tradition. Money in and of itself is engaging, right? It's fun to hear the words $1 million, and it's a bit audacious for him to give away so much so quickly. For these reasons, I'll give this introductory game a pass. Sure, it's not fun at all. Sure, there's nothing really to it. Just watching a bunch of people you don't know, press a button.
Got our first taker!
But if Jimmy doesn't rely on this gimmick too much, if it's just a one-off thing, and really, why wouldn't it be? I think it's fine. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Game 2. Mr. Beast splits the room into rows of people and tells them one person out of every row must sacrifice themselves, leave the game for the rest of the row to keep playing. The last 3 rows where nobody volunteers to leave are eliminated.
In order for your team to move on, someone must sacrifice themselves.
So this is the first game in this show that really shocked me, that made me feel like I had to write something about this, because I just think it's so busted and incoherent and strange. Mr. Beast is very clearly trying here to tell a story about self-sacrifice and the greater good. One woman says this:
someone for the greater good of the whole team has to leave.
And another, this really sad lady, says,
I feel like I have to sacrifice myself. I just want people to know I really do care about them. And I wish more games were like that.
Here's the problem. He didn't put any work into making that story make sense. 3 rows have to go. No matter what happens, the same number of people are going to be disappointed. And probably more importantly, there are no teams. These people are sacrificing themselves for their teams, but, they're just a row of people, right? What makes saving your row better than saving another one? What is supposed to be giving these people row solidarity? Who cares about the rows? I literally feel pity for those people who press that button because they sacrificed themselves, sacrificed their chance on a show they worked hard to get on, and they did it for nothing. They didn't even get the pleasure of acting altruistically. It's no kinder to press the button than to not press the button. And I really don't think that's the energy that Beast was going for in this show. Tragic nihilism. I thought he was trying to make it fun or something, but, what do I know? 1 out of 10. I don't like it. Game 3. The contestants have to build a tower. The first 100 people whose towers fall down are eliminated from the show. So I feel like it's time to take a step back here and talk about the obvious inspiration for Beast games, Squid Game. You know, the whole show has this weird dystopian aesthetic. Guys wear masks and look like Squid Game type people. It's not rocket science, right? Mr. Beast's most successful video ever was his recreation of Squid Game, so he just decided, you know, I'm the Squid guy now. That's my thing. Both this game and the last feel indebted to Squid Game mechanically. In the case of the Roe sacrifice game, we might recall the scene where the old guy seems to sacrifice his life for the protagonist. You know, the show is a bit like that scene if, instead of characters we've come to care about and love, the old guy laid down his life for the Roe. For his special Roe.
고마운데 자네 덕분에 잘 있다가 가네.
And this tower game, yeah, it feels very similar to the Dalgona candy scene, a small task done by a lot of people with very high stakes. But I can't help but feel like Mr. Beast has taken the wrong lesson from Squid Game, right? See, that show is good because it's written good. It's not just fun to watch people lick a candy or stack some blocks. You have to make it interesting. And Jimmy doesn't really even try to do that. We never focus on the mechanics of block laying. We don't feel connected to the game and its optimal strategy. There are no good block laying stories. No, we're really just watching some people stacking blocks. Sometimes the tower falls down and you think, okay, 3 out of 10. Game 4, another bribe game? Another row-based bribe game? Let's go. That's crazy. Mr. Beast breaks the contestants into rows yet again. There's an increasing pot that each player can choose to take with the click of a button, and if they take it, their entire row loses.
The bribes will keep going up, and we will keep eliminating rows until we have 500 people.
So okay, this does work better than the second game does. It's at least rational now for players to choose to press the button, and I can understand, in theory, how it's sad when a player selfishly chooses to take money and doom their row. Still, I think the game is quite bad, and it's bad because it fails to understand the difference between player stakes and audience stakes. If you're playing in Beast games, this is a pretty high stakes event, right?
Hey, wait, what?
Somebody took the 20K.
There are all these players next to you who might choose to take the money, so even if you might prefer to stay in the game and compete for $5 million, it's just game theoretically incorrect for you to do so. So there's a tension between desire and reason, between some vague sense of ethics and cold calculation. Will the rest of my team stay loyal? You know, or will they betray the row? It sounds like all of this would make for some pretty good TV, but the problem is, from the audience perspective, there's really not so much of that tension. We don't know any of these people. There are around 600 in this room, and we know that somebody is going to take that money, right? So really, who cares who presses the button? Which team goes against his row? It's kind of a prisoner's dilemma for the people playing the game, but from my perspective, it's just a pure game of chance. Everybody's screaming, no, don't press the button. Please don't press that button. And it's like, you know, that seems pretty crazy for you guys, but I just don't relate to that. Somebody press the button. That's what I'm thinking. Mr. Beast can only take 500 of you to Beast City, so I guess a few of you are gonna press the button. This game also happens to have one of the funniest lines in the entire show.
But sometimes, the people who you think you can trust the most are actually
Oh my God.
the people you can trust the least.
I thought I could trust the row with my life. I thought row 7 had my back. What the fuck?
고마운데 자네 덕분에 잘 있다가 가네.
Incredible moment, but I'm gonna have to say it's a 2 out of 10 game. Just in terms of game quality, not so high. So that's the first episode of Beast Games, and I feel like I can anticipate some criticism here. Big Joel, how is he supposed to make any interesting games for 1,000 people? The show gets way better later on, so chill out, bro. You know, eat a lunchly. That's what I imagine a Gen Alpha Mr. Beast fan is writing in my comments as we speak. Why are you so pressed? Just grab a lunchly, dude. Interestingly enough, Mr. Beast seems to share my opinion on the quality of the early episodes. He's tweeted multiple times that it gets way better later on. Just hold on the fort, he says. Episode 8 is going to be crazy. There's 16 rows, and every time somebody leaves the row, they get kicked in the balls, but also The rest of their team gets kicked in the balls, so it's like, why would you even leave the row? But people literally do. And look, we'll see later on if the quality of the show improves. I haven't seen it yet. But either way, why did he make an episode of TV that was almost designed to suck ass? Did someone hold a gun to Jimmy Beast's head and force him to have 1,000 contestants? You know, if he didn't have any good ideas for the episode, why did he put it on TV? No, I'm here to speak objectively about the quality of these games, and I'm not interested in any excuses. And with that, let's move on to episode 2, Becoming the Beast. So we start the second episode with a move into Beast City, the real, genuine city that Mr. Beast built for his contestants to have fun.
Bunch of crazy lunatics who have all turned down $100,000 to be in a city that was built for us to have fun, like, ridiculous.
That's what some guy says anyway, and I guess we'll see. In this episode, Mr. Beast splits the players into 4 groups and has those groups play different games, and the games are game number 1. It's a ball dropping game. Mr. Beast takes the first quarter of contestants and splits them into 2 groups, white and yellow. Then he drops balls on them. First team to drop a ball loses.
And at any point, a red ball touches the ground on your side, your tower will turn red and your entire team will be eliminated.
So this game is a bit peculiar because everything that's like suspenseful or interesting about it comes from its failure. See, it looks like the white team wins after the yellow team drops its 4th ball. They even celebrate and have a good time. But then, oh no, it turns out that a guy on the white team dropped his very first ball. And now he has to stand there like an idiot and everyone yells at him.
The first one came down and I bobbled it and it dropped.
But there's no reason to talk about it.
Right, let it review it.
Just a review.
And the Beast team goes through their footage and reverses their decision. It's horrible. So I appreciate the drama of a broken game. I mean, it's fun in a way to watch something this nasty, but I just want us to appreciate how lame this viewing experience would have been had everything gone as planned. They have all this set up. They take everyone to the roof of Beast Building, Beast Tower, and then, oh, the white team loses in 10 seconds flat. Just seems like a not very fun game to me. One that would have probably benefited from more testing or from making it so that a team had to drop like 3 balls to lose. As things stand, I can't really award this fail game many points at all. 3 out of 10, honestly. I can't give it higher than that. Game number 2. Beast takes the next quarter of contestants and once again splits them into 2 teams. The team where more people voluntarily choose to leave the game wins.
Whichever team has the least amount of contestants at the end will move on. You guys will have to convince your fellow teammates to eliminate themselves.
Another self-sacrifice challenge. Even Jimmy seems to realize how much this sucks.
Wow. It's a self-sacrifice challenge?
I know you guys aren't happy about another self-elimination challenge.
And unfortunately, it has precisely the same problem that the last self-sacrifice challenge had. Why are these people supposed to care about their groups? Why am I supposed to care? At the beginning of the episode, Beast tells us that the contestants are all making friends with each other.
And players remember that friendship is not the reason they're here.
This is a way of communicating to the audience that actually there are some pretty important relationships emerging between these guys. You know, it's not all competition. They're forging some intense bonds. But the thing is, we don't see any of these relationships, and probably more importantly, the contestants here aren't paired with their supposed friends. They just got randomly given a white or gold jersey. So then, you know, why are they invested in which team wins? Why are they choosing to leave the show? What greater good are they fighting for?
I'm gonna go. He was proud.
Sure you want to give up your shot at $5 million?
I'm good. I want this team to go far.
Beast Games is so committed to treating people sacrificing themselves as some selfless act, but once again does absolutely nothing to earn that feeling. It sucks and it's boring. 1 out of 10. I would give it a 0 out of 10 if that was legal, but it's not. It gets a 1 out of 10. Game number 3. Ball and hole. Beast takes the next group of contestants, puts them on teams, and has them compete to see who can land the most balls in a big bucket.
Your goal is to hit these balls in that cup.
There's one twist though, because Jimmy also places a bucket further away and with a smaller hole. And if you sink that shot, you get $250,000, but that ball score doesn't contribute to your team's overall ball count.
You can aim for the gold cup and win $250,000 for yourself.
It's another selfishness challenge. for some reason. So look, I'm not gonna tell you that there's no joy in ball and hole. I like seeing people throw balls in holes just as much as the next guy. We all like ball and hole. Well, it's pretty basic and boring. It's definitely the best game so far, right? Which is pretty tragic. Still, I'm really not a fan of this Golden Cup. I think it's implemented very poorly. If Mr. Beast really wanted to test people's selfishness, as he seems almost pathologically obsessed with doing, he shouldn't have made it so difficult to take the selfish option, right? The Golden Cup is way further away, and the hole is way smaller, and the effect, it seems, is to make landing a ball in there just almost impossible. It doesn't seem like almost anybody tries for it during the game proper, and even at the end, when one team wins and everybody just wants to land the 250k, nobody's able to. So what's the point then? It's just kind of a useless mechanic. To be fair here, I suspect that Mr. Beast didn't include the Golden Cup for any entertainment purpose. It seems like it's really just there to segue to his sponsor, Moneylion.
Even though they may have lost, by using this Moneyline QR code, one of you at home still has a chance to win $250,000.
An online credit and lending app that's currently embroiled in a multi-year lawsuit with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau over their allegedly providing illegally high interest rates to military service members and their misleading customers regarding cancellation policies. But to be extra fair, that obviously makes it worse, right? That's not better, is it? I would give Ball and Hole a 5 out of 10, but I'm gonna knock it because of the Golden Cup thing. 4 out of 10 game. Game number 4, Trivia. Mr. Beast takes one final group, puts them on teams, and has them play trivia against each other.
What is the biggest animal on our planet?
Look, I'm not going to tell you this is a great game. A lot of the questions are really easy.
This is definitely the hardest question so far. The number 100 is represented by what letter in Roman numerals? I'll be honest, I don't even know the answer to this one.
I've obviously seen better trivia, that much is obvious. What this is, though, is a normal, peaceful, functional game. Nothing goes wrong, nobody's tested to see if they're willing to sacrifice themselves for some meaningless group. It's just some nice trivia. 5 out of 10. At times like this, it really does feel like Beast City was built for all of us to have a good time. Game 5. Mr. Beast takes all the contestants, splits them into 4 teams, and has them nominate a captain. The captain has to decide if they want to take an ever-increasing bribe, and in doing so, doom their entire team except themselves to a crushing loss.
And at any point, any one of these captains can press the button in front of them and eliminate their entire team in exchange for that money.
In the end, no captain takes the bribe. 4 people turned down $1 million.
These 4 people, who are all here to win money, just said no to $1 million.
It's pretty interesting. So yes, this is another Mr. Beast selfishness test, and that does predispose me against it, but I think that for the first time, the Beast actually made it work. Looking at this game, it's easy to assume that somebody would want to take the $1 million, right? I mean, there's a huge amount of money, 1/5 of the show's grand prize. And in any case, while it might feel bad to take the bribe, it is, from a strict utilitarian sense, just not all that harmful. All but one of these contestants are going to be eliminated at some point, right? Why is it so virtuous to keep them in the game now? Get your bag. Still, people are not strict utilitarians. They're very disinclined toward that kind of thinking, and I really don't find it so strange that nobody took the money. Imagine yourself in this position. You promised to do right by your team, to not take a bribe if it was offered to you.
I would betray you. Everyone here has a reason to fight. Hey, listen up. And I would never, ever take that from any of you.
There are 3 other people who'd be more virtuous than you if you took the cash. Everyone's screaming at you, and you're looking at the people that you'd be eliminating.
Whoa, that's a lot of money.
Even the fact that taking the bribe doesn't eliminate you from the show, what Beast presents as an upside,
But if they press the button, they are not eliminated, just you guys.
is actually a huge problem for the bribe taker. It's not fun to be put back in a group where everyone hates you, right? It's just embarrassing. All this to say, even though I think somebody probably ought to have taken that money, I kind of find it neat that they didn't. Wanting to be a good person on TV, wanting to stand by your word, is just a really strong social force. And I enjoy how this game reveals that. It's entertaining. I'm gonna give this game a 7 out of 10, I think. It's the first time I actually enjoyed watching Beast games. Anyway, on that note, let's jump into episode 3, where things, I'm guessing, are gonna get serious. The first game in episode 3 is a potato sack race. The winner gets access to the T-Mobile house, hell yeah.
The prize for this next game will be that T-Mobile VIP house.
And also immunity in the next challenge. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. It's a potato sack race. One thing that kind of confuses me is that Mr. Beast keeps on reminding the audience of how much fun this is, how delightful it is for the contestants.
And just as I predicted, after everything they've been through, all these players really wanted was to have some fun.
The thing is, I think I intuitively understand how fun this potato sack beast race would be, and the answer is not that fun. I mean, I've been in a sack race before, and it's okay, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't rise to my own personal favorite activity, a nice soak in the tub where I get to read on my phone. I mean, honestly, it doesn't even come close to a tub soak, so I don't know what the fuck Mr. Beast is talking about. Anyway, as things stand, 3 out of 10, I think, for the sack race. It would be hard to convince me that it's worth more than that. Game 2. So episode 3 is actually a bit strange because it only has one real game. Mr. Beast takes the groups of 3 established in the sack race and puts them all into separate cubes. Each group has 5 hours to figure out one person to voluntarily sacrifice themselves.
You guys will have that time to decide which 2 of you are moving on and which one of you will be chained to the wall of the cube, thus eliminated from the show.
And if nobody does so, all 3 contestants are eliminated. This was the whole point of the sack race, by the way, to get people to team up with their friends so the cube elimination could be dramatic.
The whole purpose of this game is to trick them into pairing up with their closest friends.
So all this sounds horrible, doesn't it? Another quote-unquote game where people are just expected to leave for no reason. But honestly, it's a little bit better than that because the contestants are able to play games of their choosing to determine who should leave. Really, it's just a remake of that one episode of Squid Game, and I guess that's fine. Was that episode interesting because we care about the cast of characters? Yes. Is it interesting now when you don't care about or know any of these people? No, of course not. But it's not as bad in principle as some of these other self-sacrifice games. For the most part, contestants just play a game of chance or Monopoly or Jenga or whatever to see who goes home, and that's kind of it. Still, there's one big problem facing this game, and it's that Mr. Beast is just not a very good storyteller. There are 3 kind of interesting cube stories to be found in this episode. There's a guy who loses a game to the other 2 players but refuses to self-eliminate.
Are we fair?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Actually, no, I lied. Hey, bam, we're all gone.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm deadass. I'm not kidding.
A woman who does something similar loses a game but doesn't leave.
I just feel like we should play another game.
No, that's just blood.
And 2 brothers who manipulate a woman into an unfair game. Instead of competing against both brothers, one of them just refuses to play.
You want to do the card game again?
It's just gonna be us 2. Whoever goes slower.
And you're not doing it?
These things all seem engaging enough, and in an episode where so many contestants just play a random game and have no real conflict, there was no reason we couldn't have zoomed in on them, but we really don't. Why did this guy refuse to leave? They must have had a conversation about this, and I'd like to watch a bit of it, get a sense for his motivation, even if it doesn't make sense. There seems to have been some kind of hug-related drama, and I'd like the chance to hear more about that, frankly.
You are a piece of for doing that. Legitimately wasting time in here and hanging out and chit-chatting and talking. I didn't waste your time. I was walking up to you to give you a hug.
This woman who lost a game of Uno and is playing against friends, as it turns out, those friends cheated. Was the woman aware of this fact? Did it cross her mind? What was the room like after she refused to obey the rules of the fraudulent game? These 2 brothers who manipulate a woman into leaving are the worst offenders, I think. They inform us at the end that they were talking the whole time, that this was all part of the plan.
We played, me and my brother were secretly talking to each other the entire time. And basically, she doesn't know that.
Whoa. Whoa.
But what happened exactly? How were they communicating, and how did they get the woman to accept odds she no doubt knew to be unfair? Was she really convinced by this guy saying that a 33% chance is worse than a 50% one?
I am saying, why not one of us sit out and it's you and I play, and now it's a 50-50 for you.
Let me think for a second, because I see what you're saying.
I'm just me in the middle.
It doesn't seem like she is, but we have no idea. Other reality shows use confessionals for this purpose, right? Let the contestants speak directly to the audience about their experiences and ideas. And while I'm not saying that Beast Game strictly needed to do that, it did need to do something. Because if I'm watching this show, watching this drama unfold, I want to know what's going on. I want to be able to track the characters in the story. If you've ever seen a MrBeast video, you know that he's big into what YouTube type people call retention editing, keeping people watching at all costs.
You need to go touch that box of money, but you touch a laser, you lose $250,000.
Because of this, he doesn't tend to linger on things. A MrBeast video is usually just big flashy spectacle after big flashy spectacle with no real sense of pacing or narrative. Now honestly, I think this formula works fine in a YouTube video. It can be fun to watch random bullshit for 20 minutes. But clearly, that's not the goal of Beast games. Jimmy keeps reminding us of the friendships being made, drawing us into the human drama and psychology of it all.
Because the game following this one is the most psychological game I've ever done.
But even so, he's not willing to actually tell a story, show rising action and conflict, give the audience information we need to connect to the contestants. Instead, we just do the MrBeast thing, show the bits that Jimmy finds most interesting, and ignore everything else. In the end, this is a bad game, not because it's designed so poorly, but because MrBeast refuses to give it stakes or structure. 4 out of 10, I guess. Better than the sack race. And that's it for episode 3. That was an easy one. Let's move on to episode 4. I thought the show was crazy before. This is probably even more wild. So episode 4 has a lot of tiny little games. 148 people compete for 60 spots on a helicopter that takes them to a private island. Everyone who doesn't get a copter goes home, and the battle is going to be fierce. Game 1. MrBeast hides a ticket to a helicopter somewhere in the city. Everyone has to race to get it.
Good luck.
The winner gets to choose 5 people to come with them to the private island. So I don't know what exactly I'm supposed to get out of this challenge. I thought maybe Beast hid the ticket in a really secret spot so that people would have to strategize with each other and talk or whatever. I don't know if it's fair to have wanted such a thing, but in any case, it doesn't happen. Instead, it's just 20 seconds of bedlam as we watch a crowd of random people scream and race around.
If I were you, I would run fast.
Not even really a game, but it does have a lot of energy, so I'll give it a 3 out of 10. Game 2. Everyone wears a blindfold and has to drop a ball as close to 10 minutes as they can.
Whichever 6 of you drops your ball the closest to the 10-minute timer ending without going over will be boarding the 3rd helicopter.
As you can no doubt guess, this is kind of a hard episode for me to talk about. Like, I understand that I gave myself the job of reviewing every game in this show, but really, what do you want me to say about this? It's pretty boring, you know? It's just a test to see how well you can internally measure time. But I guess to its credit, it's about as good a version of that test as I can imagine. You know, he doesn't do a bad job or anything. It's a ball drop game. 4 out of 10. Game number 3. So this one's a bit interesting. Every contestant is given a coin, and in order for a player to win, they must be given 100 out of these 110 coins.
If one of you can collect 100 of these 110 gold coins within 10 minutes, you will claim a spot on this helicopter and pick the other 5 people that go with you.
So I'm kind of obsessed with this game because even more than last episode's Cube game, it reveals just how far we are from the contestants on Beast games. How little we can understand them. The second the game starts, everyone's chanting Jeremy, Jeremy. Jeremy, Jeremy, Jeremy. And you know, who's Jeremy? As it turns out, he's one of the 4 people who turned down the $1 million bribe, but you know, 3 other people did that too. So why is Jeremy so special? Why do they all love Jeremy? So as we're pondering this question, another bomb drops. Apparently people don't want to vote for Jeremy because he's religious and said that he won't invite any woman to come with him in his helicopter out of respect for his wife.
Jeremy is not picking any women based out of respect for his wife. Pass it down.
He won't pick any girls.
He won't pick any girls.
So is that rumor true? Did Jeremy say that? We have no idea.
Jeremy, how are you gonna choose?
I'm gonna pray.
As I said, this is the first time we've seriously engaged with this guy, and the show doesn't give us any background info or anything. And so as an audience, we're just left completely in the dark here.
Not Jeremy.
Jeremy sucks.
I can't deny, I find something kind of entertaining about this. As I've talked about before, there's a flatness to Beast games, a refusal to engage with or care about the experiences of the people it's ostensibly about. And while that usually sucks, it kind of works here. Like, I'm watching this show, I'm witnessing people navigate this strange religious conflict, one where Christianity is at once the force that draws people to this man,
Jesus, 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 Jesus. Have you given it?
and the force that repels them from him.
Look at that congregation. That is manipulative.
It's like a cult. That guy's like a cult leader.
And I, the guy watching, have no idea what's going on. I'm just sitting there numb and confused. And the effect of this is to make me feel like an alien, feel like I don't inhabit the world these people live on. I don't know, it's just kind of weird and unsettling enough to make for watchable TV for me. 6 out of 10, I'll say. An aesthetically novel experience. In the end, by the way, Jeremy does apprehensively let one woman on the copter with him. That's what prayer led him to, I guess, which... good. Game 4. The contestants split up into 10 teams of 6. The teams are given a tenuously balanced ball on a stick thing, and they're supposed to pass the ball to the other end of their line.
Your goal is to pass the ball all the way to the end of your line. However, if everyone's terrible at this game and breaks their glass ball, then the last 3 teams balancing will move on.
So this game sucks, and I honestly wonder if anybody playtested it before trying it out on TV. Nobody can do it. Almost every team just flops out immediately, and the 3 teams that win are the ones that basically don't even attempt to do the challenge.
They're gonna drop it, yeah. They're gonna drop it. Just relax.
Don't pass.
Don't pass. Don't do it.
I'm sorry, but that's not a fun game, right? If you're playing a ball balance game, it should test your ability to balance a ball, not your ability to awkwardly stand there.
They started to wait it out.
One more.
Risking it all on their self-confidence and relying on their opponents to fail.
It's not self-confidence, Jimmy Beast. Stop coping. You made a shitty game. It's just bad, lazy design, and I feel like it could have been better so easily. Just make it so the ball isn't glass. Make it so that if you drop the ball, you have to pick it up and start over again. That way the contestants have a chance to get better at the game and an incentive to, play it. 1 out of 10. Unbelievably bad, in my opinion. Game 5. Everyone stands in a circle with a blindfold on. If one person steps into the circle, they get to go to the private island, but if more than one person steps out, they'll all be eliminated.
If more than one player crosses the line, everyone who stepped into the circle will be eliminated.
In the end, someone walks out alone in the second round and wins. So this is an okay game. Like, I enjoy the idea of this kind of prisoner's dilemma thing, but I have to be honest, I'm not totally sold on the way it's executed. Like, yes, the contestants are wearing blindfolds, but their other senses are intact, right? And I feel like I'd be able to hear someone stepping forward, hear the difference in their voice when they're closer to me. Like, by the end of the round, the woman who wins is standing toward the center of the circle, and I'd be able to hear that, and so wouldn't want to step out onto the circle myself. This could also explain why the editors don't seem to want to show the winning contestant. If she made it obvious that she was in the circle by, yelling and walking around and stuff, they probably wouldn't want to include that in the episode, right? Anyway, this is just speculation, and in any case, it's a largely inoffensive game, but I'm just not buying it. And if I am right, if the game was fucked up like that, that's really funny. 5 out of 10. Game 6. The contestants have 10 minutes to decide if they'd rather continue being on Beast Games or split $250,000 with everyone else who chooses to leave.
If you've had enough of the competition and want to go home with guaranteed cash, you can eliminate yourself.
In the end, 18 people leave and they each get $14,000. So I don't know if this experience counts as a game. It's kind of treated as one though, and honestly, I just find it a bit sad. Why does this show need so many off-ramps? Why does Mr. Beast keep bribing people to leave? It feels like Jimmy implicitly understands that he made a stinky show and feels bad about it. It certainly doesn't make Beast Games feel fun and exciting, right? Really, it just casts a negative, pathetic light over the whole thing. All these people saying, actually, I think I'm gonna go home now. I didn't take a bribe in the first round, but that was a mistake. I don't want to be here anymore. Whatever, 2 out of 10, I guess. What do you think this deserves? Game number 7. The players stand on top of a building and they have to throw a ball as close to a golden briefcase as they can.
After every contestant has thrown their red ball, the closest one to that golden briefcase will win a ticket on the helicopter.
I'm getting upset, man. I'm getting a little antsy. I'm starting to wonder, was this video of mine a bit of a mistake? In the advertising for this show, Mr. Beast really hyped up Beast City. This is a real amazing city, he said. I constructed it, and it's gonna blow your mind.
We built a city in the middle of nowhere. There's just a field.
What?
And
that's just Burning Man.
We pulled up. No, we built like an actual city.
That's what they do at Burning Man.
And I guess it's impressive that he got Amazon to spend money to build dorms for people and to construct this tower thing. But I can't emphasize this enough. Nothing has yet happened in Beast City. There is no spectacle to be found here. It's just dumb backyard barbecue type games. Do you know what 10 minutes feels like? Can you balance a water balloon, throw a ball close to a hole?
All right.
Why didn't he invest in the game part of the games, Why didn't anyone suggest that? 3 out of 10. I have to give it a 3 out of 10 because I gave the bribe challenge a 2 out of 10. So now I'm screwed. This is the standard for a 3 out of 10 on Beast games. Game number 8. The contestants are split into 6 teams of 6. Each team has to choose one person to go to the island. Everyone else goes home.
Each platform must choose only one player to move on.
I'm bored. I don't want to make any more games. That's my Mr. Beast impression. You guys just choose who you want to win the show, and the rest of you pack it up and go home. Just play rock, paper, scissors, or flip coins or whatever. I mean, that was pretty amazing to watch last episode. So why not play it back?
All right, so you do heads or tails, right? And if you get it right, you move to the next round.
On 3, you release. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
I pay for all these people to come to my show. I built a city for them to sleep in. I built toilets for them to piss in. Now they have to play rock, paper, scissors to determine who wins the show that I'm supposed to be making. It's busted, dude. It's busted. It is a busted television show. 1 out of 10. Worse than the bribes. We're on to episode 5. Okay, so episode 5 has this kind of interesting structure. Mr. Beast brings the contestants to a private island worth $1.8 million, and he gives them an option. You can either compete to win the island and potentially be eliminated from the game, or you can just sit this one out, go on a nice vacation.
We are going to ask each of you if you want to compete for this island.
In the end, 9 people choose to gamble on the island. I actually think this voluntary game structure is quite clever. I mean, one thing that stained Beast games more than anything else is the sheer number of contestants, right? And so taking an episode to just focus on 9 people is a welcome break. In the end, though, I guess we'll see if this structure pays off, if the games, the precious games, are any good. Game 1, Hide and Seek. The contestants have to find somewhere to hide on the private island, and former Navy SEALs chase after them.
These players may look terrified, but remember, they chose this.
So honestly, this game was a breath of fresh air for me because it has 2 things that no other game on the show has thus far had. Number 1, a sense of place. The contestants have to make use of this interesting island setting, and that's profoundly novel compared to every other game on the show, which has literally just involved standing in a square. Standing in a square and shouting that you want other people to go home. Number 2, any kind of spectacle. Watching these Navy fucks chase after people, it's something, It feels like an episode of TV. I can't express to you how little episode 1 through 4 of Beast games felt like an episode of TV. Still, I do have a problem with this game, and it's that it's just too short. The Navy SEALs only find 1 single person before the game ends, and I really don't understand why. If 3 or 4 people had to be eliminated, it would really test people's hiding abilities, their willingness to wait. It would also test the Navy SEALs in a more profound way. As things stand, the result of the game just feel a bit random, like whichever person the SEALs happened to find first lost, and that could have been anybody.
All that hiding for nothing.
Anyway, it's fine. I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10 because I enjoyed seeing it. Game 2, it's a coconut throwing game.
You're each going to take turns rolling or throwing your coconut, attempting to get as close to the red line as possible.
So I guess we had our taste of the sun, we watched a normal show for a little while, now we're back to backyard barbecue type games that cost $3 to produce. I feel like we just did this. We just watched these people throw balls close to a briefcase in the last episode. What's the point? What is the actual point? We are watching this instead of watching Navy SEALs tracking people down and shooting them in the head. 3 out of 10. Game number 3. Mr. Beast brings back all the contestants who chose to take a vacation. They have to vote on which player on the island they want to eliminate.
But it's gonna be a vote from you guys.
So, have you seen reality TV before? Have you seen the hit Emmy Award-winning show Survivor? One interesting thing about that show is that every episode ends with a vote. All the contestants have to choose which person they want to eliminate.
Natalia, need to bring me your torch.
And the reason these votes are interesting primarily is that the people know each other and have strategies and alliances. It's exciting, you see, because it represents the climax of a story. Now, I'm not saying Survivor is genius or anything, but when you compare it to Beast games, it is genuinely a work of art. Because this vote sequence that Mr. Beast puts on, it sucks. It just sucks. There are too many people here, and none of them know each other that well. In the end, it seems like a lot of folks just voted for the person they knew the least, and it's like, okay, why should I care about that?
I wish I would have met you like everyone else, but I didn't. So that's why I voted for you.
He's funny. I like this nice guy, but I know all the other people.
Why are you wasting my time asking a group of 50 people which person they haven't talked to very much? It's especially problematic because the guy who gets eliminated, 895, I don't know him any better than the vote people do.
895 receives 17.
Jeez. 895, you're eliminated.
I have no earthly idea who this man is. Who is he? Why is the show like this? 2 out of 10. Game number 4. This one's kind of annoying to describe, so bear with me. The remaining 5 contestants choose a captain. The captain gets to rearrange 5 boxes, one of which contains an X, and if you choose that one, you go home. The remaining 4 players don't know which box has the X, of course, and the captain can choose how much or how little information he wants to give to each player.
So which one will you choose?
Which one would I choose?
Yes.
I'm gonna look down because I'm not gonna guide you. I'm not gonna guide you.
I don't really have that much to say about this game. It's not great, it's not terrible. Obviously, it would be better if the contestants had a stronger relationship to each other, but at this point, what are you gonna do? This is Beast Games, baby. This is the real world, you know? I can't just keep saying the show would be better if I knew who was in it. The one thing I really do enjoy about this game, though, what frankly saves it for me, is the fact that Lil Yachty, the rapper, features in it.
Little Yachty.
All right.
He seems confused as to why he's there, and I am too, and it's honestly pretty good. The one time this show intentionally makes me laugh.
Yeah, do you have any advice for him?
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty tough.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice? Yachty?
Oh, advice? No, I don't.
6 out of 10, I'll say. Redeemed by Lil Yachty. Game 5. The contestants go to a pirate ship, and it seems like there's going to be an interesting canon-related game.
And if you look right here, you will see real cannons that you will be firing at each other's ships.
Sounds pretty fun, I guess, but they don't do it. Instead, I shit you not, Mr. Beast is just like, does anyone simply want to get $450,000 and go home?
Inside of this treasure chest is $450,000.
And the first guy who's given that offer takes it, and that's it. That's the game. Why? Literally, to what end? Actually, I think I have some idea of why Mr. Beast made this strange choice, and it's because this is once again an ad for Moneylion.
But this was brought to you by Moneylion! And to make things even better, we're also giving away $450,000 to those of you watching at home.
It seems pretty weird to me, but I guess it led to a pretty dope Beast game. So 2 out of 10. Game 6. Another sick mind game is on the table for these effing contestants. Basically, the 3 players each choose a number, 1, 3, or 5, and move that number of spaces down a path. The thing is, if 2 players choose the same number, neither gets to move. The first person to get to the end of the path moves on to the next round and gets to choose which other person moves on with them. So in principle, I think this game is fine. There could be a lot of strategy and suspense in choosing the right number, and it could have made for a pretty fun game. The only issue, though, is that the contestants don't really play it. Instead of competing against each other, the 2 guys just let the woman win and hope she'll choose to bring them to the final round.
They're both helping her win. banking on her choosing them.
I'm picking 5 again.
I'm also going with 5.
And this makes the sequence quite dull and uneventful for obvious reasons.
I'm gonna do the right thing. Trust me, I will.
I trust you.
I trust her.
Perhaps it's unfair to blame Mr. Beast for this. After all, he didn't know that the players would essentially refuse to participate in the game he'd crafted, but I'm not sure it's that simple. Consider for a second what an interesting run-through of this game would have looked like. The players would probably lie to each other a lot, say they were choosing numbers they weren't so as to lead their opponents astray. People would leverage their relationships, try to convince the other players that they were trustworthy. They'd have to come up with a strategy, not just for making one choice, but for making like 5 choices. All that is really hard. It requires a lot of cognitive effort, and it's not even clear how it would pay off. After all, if another player succeeds, they're less likely to choose you if you backstab them multiple times. Given all this, I'd argue that the optimal strategy really is to just do what these boys do. Decide on a player to win and try to convince that winner to choose them over the other guy.
I'm okay with us canceling each other out. If she wants to do the right thing, she will repay me back.
It's not fun, it's not exciting, it's not really a game, but it gets the job done, and does so in a far less effortful way. I don't think Mr. Beast is very good at understanding player psychology, is really the point I'm trying to make. He puts a lot of the work of making the games interesting on the players, and doesn't give those players enough motivation to interact with the games in interesting or exciting ways. I'm gonna say 4 out of 10 for this one. You know, it's not horrible, could be a lot better. Game 7. So I'm gonna let Jimmy explain this one, and that's because I actually find his explanation a bit telling and interesting.
You guys will open up your briefcases and place the deed in one of them. I will have you shuffle your briefcases while the other person is blindfolded. After both of you have mixed up your briefcases, the opposing person will get to choose to steal one of your 2 briefcases, and vice versa. After that occurs, if you only have 1 deed, and you only have 1 deed, we will do another round. But if one of you has both the deeds, you will win the island.
Even more than the last one, I think this is an obvious situation where Jimmy fails to account for the way you can realistically expect players to engage with high-stakes games. Jimmy goes through this long, 30-second process of explaining the rules. He obviously wants the contestants to use strategy, deceive each other into picking the wrong case. But of course, they don't do that. Why would they? If you were in this position, if you had $1.8 million on the line, what stock would you put on the words of the other guy trying to convince you which case to take? He has no reason to be honest with you whatsoever, so why even care what he has to say? The players recognize this. It's not hard to recognize, and so they just don't play. They take their 50% odds and move on.
I don't want to put you in a position where you feel like you have the need to lie, so I'm gonna leave it to fate.
You're not gonna ask her anything.
I'm not gonna ask her anything. I know which briefcase I'm gonna pick.
Do you want to tell him which one is the deed's in?
I don't.
Mr. B seems, I don't know, a little bit disappointed.
You both chose to give very little information to each other, basically leaving it up to chance. And we're about to see if that paid off.
What looks complicated and designed here is, for all intents and purposes, just a coin flip. Another coin flip in a game filled to the brim with coin flips. 2 out of 10. By the way, the woman wins this game and gets the private island, and good for her. You know, I was rooting for her. Episode 6. Back to Beast City. So in episode 6, the remaining contestants voluntarily decide to do one of 3 kinds of challenges. Something intelligence related, something strength related, or something chance related. In the actual show, these challenges are all mixed up together, but for the sake of convenience, let's just talk about all the strength related challenges first. Game 1, do as many push-ups as possible. The 2 people who do the most get to be team captain in the next game, which Mr. Beast tells them will confer some major advantage.
And what better way to pick team captains than to do a push-up contest?
No.
You guys did pick physical.
So look, I get that the women involved in this competition volunteered to do the strength challenges. If I was a woman, I probably would not have made this decision. I don't think Mr. Beast was ever very likely to craft physical challenges that provided an even remotely fair playing field to the female contestants. Still, I can't help but think that push-ups are a particularly lame choice. Most women don't have chests and triceps as strong as most men. Upper body strength in general is a comparative disadvantage for them. And you can see this in action in this game, where almost all of the women just drop like flies.
Down. Up 2. Okay. Oh, we have 2 people out?
I'll reiterate, they signed up for this competition. They were not forced to do all of these push-ups. But my point is, isn't that a bit boring to open up games to everybody but slant them completely against one of the sexes? Why not squats? Why don't they have to balance on something for a while? You know, that's physical too, right? Whatever, 4 out of 10 to the push-ups. I mean, they're push-ups, whatever, who cares? Game 2. The main advantage that the team captains get is the ability to pick their teams. As it turns out, there are an odd number of players, so the last person left unchosen goes home.
So, it pains me to say this, but we need an even amount of people on each team. So whoever does not get picked will be eliminated.
So 2 problems here. First, Mr. Beast lied. Being captain is not much of an advantage at all.
And trust me, you want to be a team captain.
No guy who's reasonably strong, who did 30 push-ups instead of the winning 75, is gonna get sent home. Whoever the captains turned out to be, they'd obviously all just nab up the biggest looking men, and so these guys were never at any risk in the first place. The last 4 people standing are all women, and of course they are. It's just really stupid. Second problem, this isn't a physical game. These people all signed up for a physical challenge, and now one of them is being sent home for just, like, looking the weakest, I guess.
784. Unfortunately, you've been eliminated.
Thank you.
Hi, Dana.
That's not fair. That's not fucking fair. As much as I dislike the push-up challenge, I'd honestly just prefer it if the person who did the fewest just went home. At least that would make sense, right? 1 out of 10. I don't like it. Game 3. So now the teams have to face off against each other in a series of 3 games, and the first game here is quite simple. They have to get together and pull a monster truck.
The first team to get their monster truck to the finish line wins the first of 3 physical challenges.
So this shit rocks. I like to see big truck. I like to see people pulling the big truck. At one point, it seems like one of the teams is gonna win, but then they get to a speed bump and they can't get over it, and the other team wins.
They did it! They come back up! They come back up!
And it's fun, you know, it's actually pretty fun to watch. 8 out of 10. Probably the best game so far in the show for me. Who can pull the truck? It's pretty good. Game 4. The contestants have to race each other. That's the long and short of it.
Go!
5 out of 10 maybe for the races? I don't know. It's okay. Game 5, the final fitness game. Each team has to nominate one member to hang on a bar for as long as they can. This one's for all the marbles. Who can hang the longest?
Who is going to drop? Oh my god.
You know, it's not that I hate the bar hang challenge or the race challenge, and I even really enjoyed, you know, watching them pull big truck. But at some point I gotta ask, why are there no games? Why no obstacle courses or set pieces or theming or anything? It's just so pared down. Like, I know I made this point already, and I'll try not to make it again, but put some games in the show next time. Beast Game Season 2, try adding some fucking games. 4 out of 10. Game 6. So now we're on to the group who chose to take on the intelligence-based challenge, and you're not gonna believe the first thing that Jimmy Beast has them do.
I need to know which one of you is the smartest and which one of you is not the smartest. And what better way to do that than to have you all take an intelligence test?
Wow. Yes, they take an intelligence test. It's not even a fun intelligence test either. It seems like Mr. Beast literally hands them like a Ravens Progressive Matrices IQ test.
I don't even know what this means. Like, there's just patterns in front of me and I don't know.
Yeah, you solved the patterns.
And the person with the lowest IQ has to go home.
Which means, unfortunately, you scored the lowest and are eliminated.
We don't even see the questions. We don't even know what these people are experiencing. It's just like 2 minutes of watching people quietly take a test. It's as good as that sounds. I don't know, a 2 out of 10? 3 out of 10 because it's kind of funny. Game 7. What do you think they're going to do for the intelligence game? Duh. More trivia.
Animals, sports, or wild card.
There wouldn't be much to say about this game if not for a very odd sequence that it has. So this guy, Akira, stands up and he says, actually, I'm on a mission here, and that mission is to defeat the player 406.
A lot of you know what that mission was, and I'm here to finish it off. If I go home, I at least know I tried.
Okay.
So I'm going to have 406 come up to the table. I've heard a lot of things from other players in the cubes, and I feel like some players didn't play with the same honesty and integrity that everyone else did.
So 406, you might remember him. He's a Habibi brother, one of the two brothers who manipulated a woman into leaving in the 3rd episode. Akira's vendetta against this manipulative F goes so far that when he's offered $50,000 to face him for another trivia question, he turns him down.
Not here for the money, Jimmy.
What is happening?
I know what I want. I want to eliminate. I've had a mission since I got off the island.
He's furious. So, I mean, I like a vendetta. I mean, that's pretty fun. Though I have to admit, I think it would have benefited from some narrative development, right? Like, what if we'd seen Akira talking about how much he hates the Habibi bros before, so that it's all the more satisfying when he fulfills his mission? What if we'd been told a bit more about what the Habibi brothers actually did? Like I mentioned this before, the 3rd episode really doesn't give us details on how these guys were so manipulative, and that's way more of a problem now that I'm supposed to really care about it. It's just not a good thing that the contestants on the show know so much more than I do about this obviously important information. Still, revenge is revenge. The game is certainly more watchable because of this plot than it would have been otherwise. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Game 8. Okay, so we're on to the final group who wanted to play a luck-based game. First, Beast spins a wheel to determine how many contestants are going home, and it turns out, oh my god, 12 out of 16 players will be.
Dang. 12! Whoa!
This section of the game is another money lion ad, which, at this point in my viewing experience, started to kind of excite and intrigue me.
Obviously, the wheel didn't land on this $500,000, which means we're giving the $500,000 to one lucky winner watching at home thanks to Moneyline.
Anyway, all the contestants stand on platforms, and every round some of those platforms open up, and if you're standing on one of those, you obviously get sent home. So let me tell you something I like about this challenge, and something that I don't like. I like the way that Jeremy is eliminated. He was the guy from the 4th episode who everyone loved because he's a Christian, and when his platform opens up, he, this kind of important character on the show, just goes. We don't hear another word from him or about him ever again. I don't often think that Mr. Beast's apathy toward the contestants on his show makes for good television, but this is the exception. Like, it's fun, and it contributes to the show's nasty, apathetic energy in a way that feels intentional for a change. Here's what I don't like. The game is over-designed. I didn't mention this before, but every 5 rounds, players are allowed to change platforms, and Beast seems oddly confused that only one person does this, that people aren't changing platforms whenever they can.
You are now free to move to a different platform. No one? Okay.
Why would they? Why would they change platforms? That doesn't increase their winning odds in any way. It's not like a Monty Hall problem or whatever. Jimmy just weirdly wants these people to move from one spot where they could be eliminated to another spot where they stand the exact same chance of being eliminated.
This might seem crazy, but even though we made the same offer after every 5 doors, this was the only time anyone decided to move platforms the entire game.
Very odd, very confusing to me. There are, as you've seen, many luck games on this show, and this is probably one of the better ones, so I guess that earns it 3 out of 10. Not a great episode, honestly. Not a super fun one for me to talk about. Let's move on to episode 7. Who's got train fever? So episode 7 essentially only has one game. Mr. Beast brings the remaining contestants to the railroad tracks. He has the players elect a captain, and he makes that captain do trolley problems that involve eliminating players.
This is a game of the trolley problem.
And they repeat this process over and over until only 10 contestants remain. It's gonna be brutal, that's what Mr. Beast says.
But this game we are about to play
What is going on?
is going to redefine the word brutal.
So let's get into it. In the first trolley problem, the contestants elect Akira, the guy with a mission from the last episode, and he's told to choose the 3 players he likes the least to put on one railroad track.
I need you to pick your 3 least favorite of those 20 people.
He chooses 3 black women, by the way, which everyone is immediately baffled by.
Whoa.
Seems like it's all black females. What did that tell you?
He's gonna have some people very upset.
It's the microcosm of America. The black woman is always last.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think that's why he chose them.
I don't think Akira's like that.
Anyway, now Akira has a choice to make. Does he want to protect these 3 women or get a Lamborghini?
He can pull this lever over here, sending the train down the red track, thus saving his Lamborghini, but eliminating those 3 contestants.
So you just might be able to catch a problem here. See, normally when we see the phrase trolley problem online meme that it's become, it refers to some kind of moral dilemma. Which do you sacrifice, bacon or video games? Who would you kill, Tom Holland or Kermit the Frog? Who would you kill, Caillou and Butters? Or the cast of Sonic. I'm not saying that Mr. Beast has to ask any major philosophical questions here, try to figure out if we should be utilitarians or deontologists or whatever. But you would expect him to give Akira a difficult and thought-provoking choice, since, you know, that would make for an interesting show. But he doesn't do that. Akira here has to choose between eliminating 3 players he doesn't know or like, and getting a cool car. What's more, as Beast already said, 11 players have to be eliminated.
And we will be doing games like this until there are 10 of you.
Like, it doesn't matter what Akira does or doesn't do, the same number of people are going out of the show. So how is this an interesting choice at all? How does this reveal anything emotional or moral or psychological or whatever? And to be clear, I wouldn't mind so much that Beast presented such a dull choice if they didn't milk it for so long, if there wasn't so much gravity placed on what Akira should choose or not choose.
It's not an easy decision to make at all.
Do you think he's gonna save the Lamborghini?
No, I don't think he would screw anybody over.
I don't think he's gonna eliminate him.
He's an honorable player.
You guys have anything to say?
We voted you as a leader, so I believe you'll do the right thing.
It's genuinely interminable, and I just don't know why. I guess I'll count each of these trolley problems as games, and this one's 2 out of 10. I think trolley problem 2 is a bit better. Akira, once again voted captain, has to choose between eliminating his best friend in the competition and eliminating 3 more people he doesn't like and destroying a Tesla.
Akira is gonna have to decide between eliminating 3 people and destroying his brand new Tesla. Oh my God.
So, you know, at least there's something to this choice, right? You want the Tesla, we all want the Tesla, but you also love your friend, so good, there's some tension there. Still, there are 2 funny things about this game. First, this is how Akira's best friend ends up on one of the tracks.
We've been closely monitoring everyone you've interacted with and who you've spoke to the most. Going on the red tracks is Akira's closest friend, 359.
Yes, the show secretly monitored the contestants to see who they were closest to. And how cheesy is that? We're almost done with this show. There are only 10 contestants. This trolley problem game is all about the relationships contestants have to each other. And yet, even now, the only way to establish that 2 people are friends is for Jimmy Beast to tell the audience, yeah man, these guys love each other. Guys, let me watch. Let me see these guys like each other. They're apparently so close, but I've never seen them together before. Not one time. The other funny thing is that apparently the Tesla that Akira chose to destroy, it was filled with money. Why is that, you might ask? Well, it's because this is another Money Lion ad.
539 did not win this money, but we're actually giving away 5 times that amount of money to 1 lucky viewer.
That's the 4th or 5th one, I think. I think I know more about Money Lion at this point than I do about any contestant on this show. 5 out of 10 game, I think. So trolley problem 3 is probably the least interesting one to talk about. This woman is made captain and she has to choose between eliminating her best friend.
Remember that we've been paying close attention to who you've been spending your time with.
And eliminating 2 people of her choosing, as well as a random mystery contestant who could be her. It's okay, I guess, though again, it doesn't feel like a very difficult choice. I think almost anybody in her position would probably choose not to eliminate their friend. As it turns out though, she is the mystery contestant to be eliminated, and there's something kind of satisfying about that, right? Failed by her own train?
865. 865, I'm sorry, but you're going home.
I think that's another 5 out of 10. Anyway, this brings us to the 4th trolley problem, and this one is crazy. So the captain this time is this woman named Twana, and she has to choose 1 person for each track. She picks her best friend on the show, Queen, for 1 track, and this guy she doesn't like very much, Dino, for the other.
Because in my opinion, you can't scream about community and loving each other when you're whispering in the corners, creating alliances.
But then, and here's the twist, these people then get to choose 1 person to join them on the track. Queen picks some guy, JC, and Dino picks, oh my god,
Jazz, would you join me?
Another one of Twana's friends named Jazz. Now Twana has to choose which set of 2 people to send home, which 2 to to die on the train. So this challenge feels like a horrible fever dream to me, and that's largely because of how the players react to Dino's choice. They are all just so mad. Like, Twana says this right at the start, clearly very upset.
Dino, why'd you pick her? Why'd you pick 697?
And then after she makes her choice, sends Jazz and Dino home, everyone just gets mad at him all over again.
Dino, I have a lot of respect for you, but I think you chose Jazz as bait.
Literally.
And that's a shitty thing to do.
Nobody's gonna respect what you did here. Nobody.
Literally what? What was he supposed to do? Obviously he's gonna choose someone who's friends with Twana, and why is this some kind of immoral or nasty choice? This guy, JC, tells Dino this.
You should have chosen someone that you knew and that you confide in. I'm sorry, Dino, that's just the way I feel.
And it's like, why exactly would he do that? Why would he cause his friend to have a very high chance of being eliminated? It doesn't make any sense, and they refuse to stop talking about it. It's genuinely baffling to watch, so much so that Mr. B seems uncomfortable and steps in to kind of defend Dino at the end.
He did have to pick someone, so no matter what, it would have been brutal. At the end of the day, he still turned out $1 million.
How many people out of here were saved from that?
Looking at this, I can't help but feel that a certain madness has taken hold of these contestants, and on some level, I think it's a madness born of strange and incoherent design. Mr. Beast has tried to convince his contestants over and over again that his games test morality in some way. Will you be kind and sacrifice yourself, or will you be selfish and stay on the show? Will you aim to get money in this game, or will you be devoted to team spirit? The subtext of so many games is that there is a correct, virtuous way to play, and that's even the case, that's especially the case when there is no actual morality being tested. When the players are asked to selflessly sacrifice themselves for nothing, for some random row or room, for a team of people they don't know to win against another team of people they don't know. It looks morally important, it's certainly sold that way, but it's completely arbitrary, bereft of any meaning. And I can't help but feel that this sense of moral randomness has infected these players. You chose this woman's friend to be on a platform with you? You tried to use the mechanics of the game you were playing to get an advantage? That's wrong. No one's gonna respect you after that. It doesn't matter that somebody was going to be eliminated either way. It doesn't matter that Mr. Beast explicitly tells the contestants that it makes sense for them to choose somebody that Twana likes.
You can try to choose who you think her best friend is, her closest ally, who she would not want to eliminate, or you can just choose anyone.
If you can pretend that this choice is a philosophical dilemma, a trolley problem, then it must be one. It is a sobering watch, and if any of this felt intentional or crafted, I might enjoy it. But, you know, it doesn't. It actually just feels pretty boring and sloppily constructed. I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10 because it made me think. Overall, I just really didn't like this episode, not only because the trolley problems weren't interesting, but also because it was so padded. 4 dull dilemmas over the course of an hour, me no likey. And with that, we're on to episode 8. This one's almost too brutal. So episode 8, I think, is one of the most tragic episodes of the whole series. It's just very boring and strange and unimportant, and with that dazzling sales pitch, let's crunch in. The remaining 10 contestants are told to pick a captain, and they choose Twana, the most popular person on the show. She chooses one person, this guy Michael. He did a lot of push-ups a few episodes back. That's the one thing I know about Michael. And Michael chooses someone, JC. JC then chooses someone else, and on it goes. Once everyone's been chosen, Mr. Beast reveals the game. There's $1 million pot, and in the order they were chosen, each contestant gets to take as much of that pot as they want. The contestants can't see or talk to each other. It's a game of trust and loyalty. Who would have imagined that Mr. Beast would do such a thing? Okay, so Twana takes $100,000, her fair cut of the money.
I'm taking my share, $100,000.
The next guy, Michael, takes $220 grand, and the guy after him, JC, takes $650,000.
I'm gonna take $650.
Whoa! Okay.
After that, the game is effectively over, right? Everyone else gets a pittance, and they're all mad at JC.
I thought everyone was going to be smart enough to play fair and all take 100 grand, because that's a lot of money for each of us.
So look, there's a lot I can forgive from this episode. I can forgive that it's completely pointless to the show as a whole, that by the end of it, we're no closer to seeing who wins that sweet $5 million. Do I love that? No. Am I okay with it? Sure, it's fine. I can forgive that the only interesting choice in the episode happens around 20 minutes in when JC takes a bunch of money. That after this point, there's basically no tension or conflict at all. We're just watching people take a few $1,000 and getting mad. Do I like that? Not really. Does it make me mad? No. I can forgive that it's yet another dumb altruism game that bores me to tears.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to put my family first.
We all have family.
Tell us what you got. I took $650,000.
Oh my god, I thought you were my best friend, JC. I didn't think you were in it for the money. Let's spend the entire episode, like 15 full minutes, 3 separate scenes, yelling at this annoying man. By the way, if you're curious why I call JC annoying, it's because he said this in the last episode.
I'm not in this for material things. I'm 50 years old. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. You know that. I want time. Money's not going to buy me health, but I'm tired of trading my time for money.
I'm not in this for material things. I just want goods and services. Do I like that? No. Can I accept it? Here's what I can't forgive, though. Mr. Beast here wants to put on this strategy game where the players have to weigh their relationships with each other against their desire to make money. This is probably the first time that such a concept could really work on this show. The first time there are few enough contestants that we could actually explore their relationships, see them talk to, and strategize with each other. So what does Jimmy do? Well, he puts them in different rooms and he doesn't let them communicate. We don't get to see the cast have relationships. We don't get to see how much they like each other. We just see them quietly picking different sums of money. That's it. Why? To what end? Mr. Beast, how am I supposed to engage with your cast if you don't let me see them with each other? How am I supposed to feel the stinging taste of betrayal if I have no sense of pre-existing loyalty? Like, I understand that you saw the movie The Platform and enjoyed that. I saw it too. I thought it was fine, but that doesn't mean you can just remake that movie without thinking about how it's going to actually play narratively. We are 3 episodes from the end, and it is still nothing. 3 out of 10. Let's move on. Episode 9. You're not gonna believe how brutal this one gets. So for the most part, I kind of like episode 9 of Beast Games. Again, it's essentially a 1-game episode, and again, that game is a psychology-based voting thing, but I think it's pretty okay for what it is. The remaining contestants are split into 10 rooms, and they have to vote 6 people through to the next round. Each time someone's voted through, they're removed from the voting pool. They can also bribe the other contestants with money they got from the last episode. So why do I like this game? Well, it's because it's the first time I feel in any way connected to these players, feel like I can place them within the game that they're playing. And here, I'll just zoom in on one moment, my favorite. So there's this guy who's trying to convince the other 9 contestants that they should alternate their votes for who gets through based on gender.
I think it would be a good idea to do girl, boy, girl, boy. Like, to be fair. The thing is people are talking about doing girl, boy, girl, boy.
And he does this for scheming, Machiavellian reasons.
We're not going to push 453 and 566 through because they were selfish and took more money than anybody else.
So assuming 453 and 566 are lost causes, an alternating vote between genders may seem like a call for fairness, but it actually increases 930's chances to take the next seat.
So that's kind of a silly plan, right? I wouldn't expect something like that to work, and indeed it doesn't work. The contestants almost immediately say that they're not interested in this skewed gender equality thing, and that's that.
You do know when you guys go boy, girl, that leaves 3 girls at the very end.
Yeah, dude, forget about that. Forget about that. Patrick is tripping.
Still, it's a crumb, right? It's a fucking crumb. It's exciting to see someone have a thought about how they're gonna play a game. Exciting that one of these games allows people to concoct, somewhat interesting strategies. Is it the best thing I ever watched? No, but I at least think it aligns with the kind of show that Mr. Beast was trying to create. One that calls on the players to interact with each other in interesting, conniving ways. I appreciate that. I think it's a winning moment. And that's not the only bit I enjoy. I like watching this guy, Jeff, distribute his small amount of money to get everyone on his side.
Okay, I want to let you know, I did, for you, Queen, Courtney, and Gage, I just sent you guys $750, $750. That was the excess amount I took over what I should have taken. It'll even everything out, and it'll make me feel much better, even if it's not a ton of money.
I like seeing this guy lie about who he's voting for to secure a spot in the finale.
Why'd you lie?
Court, I was played too.
You were played too?
I did this purely for strategy.
It works okay. It's watchable. I'd say 7 out of 10. Still, the episode isn't perfect. For one thing, Jimmy says this about one of the contestants.
Everyone seemed genuinely happy that Emma, arguably the most innocent player, was able to secure her spot in the final 6.
And there's just something about that I don't like to hear. I don't have the words to articulate why, but hearing Jimmy Beast refer to this woman I know nothing about as one of the most innocent people on the show, it does me some kind of psychological damage. But more importantly, surprise, there's another game in episode 9. And I hate it. The players are presented with an opportunity. If one of them wants to, they can flip a coin. If they call it correctly, they double the show's grand prize, making it $10 million. If they call it incorrectly, though, they're eliminated from the show.
Do you want to step forward, flip a coin, and double the already largest grand prize in history to even bigger?
In the end, one guy decides to go for it, and he gets the flip right. The pot is doubled.
It's tails!
So I don't know if my aversion to this game is justified. After all, there is a thrill in this coin flip, and it's obviously fun that the guy manages to add $5 million to the grand prize. Still, I just hate presenting obviously horrible, disadvantageous choices to players. Like, obviously, this guy should not be taking this coin flip. It doesn't increase the amount of money he's likely to win on the show, it's a ridiculous gamble, and of course, the marginal value of $5 million on a human life is much more meaningful than the value of, another $5 million. Like, you're not going to be twice as happy to receive 10 million as you would be to receive 5, right? For these reasons, Mr. Beast's proposition pisses me off, and watching the other contestants vaguely manipulate this guy into taking the coin flip.
Hype up. Say it with all your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah?
If you feel it, do it. Don't think twice about it.
That pisses me off too. Like, by this point in the show, I'm basically supposed to root for these people, but now I have to watch them explain to this guy that they're getting good energy off of tails.
I'm feeling the energy off of it. Like, it feels good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it feels good.
It does.
Ooh.
It's nasty. I hate to see it. 3 out of 10, I think. And now, oh fuck, we're on to episode 10. The Beast Games finale. Game 1. The remaining 6 contestants stand in front of 6 pillars. In order of when they were voted off the building in the last episode, they get to choose which pillar they want to stand on. Then, they take turns trying to throw balls in the tubes of other contestants. If they get a ball in a tube, the player goes home. 2 contestants are eliminated this way. So I don't have much to say about the body of this game. It seems comically difficult to get these balls into these tubes, which makes the whole thing just last a really long time.
It's nothing personal.
No, the only part I find questionable happens at the very start, where the players choose which platforms they want to stand on. Players on Beast Games are very often not given enough information to make clever or strategic choices. Whenever the contestants have to pick a captain, for example, Jimmy just tells them, this is really important, pick well because it matters.
And to kick this off, I need you guys to elect a captain. And I need you guys to all vote for who will receive the key to house number 1. I need you guys to agree on a leader.
But he doesn't tell them why it matters, never gives them much information. This has annoyed me to different extents for the entire show, because I feel like it's usually wasting an opportunity to add some much needed depth to the game. If the players had knowledge about what was to come, maybe they could construct some interesting schemes or have some tense conversations, and I'd like to see more of that. Anyway, this creative choice, this refusal to give his participants info about the game to come, never feels worse than it does here with this game.
You will choose which one of these pillars you want to stand on. You might not realize it yet, but it's actually a very important decision.
Mr. Beast says this is an important choice, but it's basically not a choice at all, is it? In the end, I think players are slightly advantaged by choosing the outside pillars because it makes their tubes worse targets. But it's like, how on earth are they supposed to know that? What mental faculty are they supposed to use to make an intelligent decision here?
Okay, she's heading over here. What do you think about the corner platform?
This whole sequence is a waste of time luck game masquerading as something more than that, and man, that's a truly common theme on this show, isn't it? Maybe it's even a harbinger of things to come later in this very episode, who's to say? Anyway, I'll give this game 4 out of 10. I think it's earned that. Game 2. The remaining 4 contestants watch a pattern emerge on a grid. If one of them wants to, they can choose to, by memory, walk across that pattern. If they succeed, they get to the next round and get to eliminate a player of their choosing. If they fail, they're done. So this game is kind of iconic because the woman who does it just flops out immediately.
Is it correct?
Doesn't remember the very first square she's supposed to walk on.
Oh no!
That's crazy, dude. Imagine getting beast gamed like that. This is probably the most difficult challenge on the whole show, at least mentally. Like, memorizing a bunch of stuff is hard, and it's the sort of thing that could appear in an actual game show that, that people enjoy. So there's something fitting, almost satisfying, about how much of a bust it is. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Game 3. Okay, so the last 50 players of the game all voted on their least favorite contestant of the final 3. Now, these guys have a choice to make. Either one of them willingly leaves the show and gets $1 million, or the most disliked person is just eliminated.
And with $10 million on the line, why win one when you can win 10?
In the end, this guy Gage chooses to take the money, and that makes sense. The other two remaining contestants, Twana and Jeff, both seem quite a lot more popular than he does. But then there's a bit of a twist. Actually, Twana was voted the least popular contestant. This poor schlub sacrificed himself and got $1 million even though he didn't have to. Wow. So this game is perfectly fine to watch. A popularity vote at the end of the competition makes enough sense, and even though I wish I knew why people voted the way they did, it probably doesn't matter that much. I like the twist. It's exciting. I like how Jeff and Twana both act like it's so sad for this guy to win $1 million on a reality show. It's kind of good.
Gage, I'm telling you, it might not be you. I love you.
Don't do this game.
We're giving hugs?
What?
I love her.
6 out of 10. Okay, we are on to game 4 now, the final game. This decides who wins $10 million. And I'm gonna talk about it. Of course, I'm going to talk about it. But first, I want to share something with you, and I do think it's relevant. So one thing I tracked across this entire show is a theoretical player who I will call Chillboy. Chillboy has one goal on this show, and it's to get as far as possible by doing as little as possible. He's a relaxed and sleepy man, he's not good at anything, and he doesn't like to play games. So let me now walk you through this entire show one more time, and I'm going to describe to you Chillboy's journey. In episode 1, Chillboy is feeling great. He just sits there on his pillar. He doesn't sacrifice himself, he doesn't take any bribes, he's just resting for most of this episode. I know what you're thinking, I know what you're pondering. Don't contestants in the first episode have to stack blocks? Won't that be a pretty substantial challenge to Chillboy? Well, that seems true, but lucky for Chillboy, it's not. Enough players just knock their towers over that you don't have to touch these blocks. The optimal strategy is actually for Chillboy to continue resting.
Over 100 towers have fallen, which means if your tower is currently knocked over, you might still be in.
Episode 2. This one's even better for Chillboy. There's the challenge where players have to self-sacrifice and make their team win, and since Chillboy's taking a nap, nobody's gonna bother him. He gets lucky. He gets on the winning team. He's through to the next episode. Episode 3 is honestly where boys become men. Chillboy is put in a room with 2 other players and one of them has to leave. He can't just sleep. He needs to do something to assure his survival in this game. Luckily though, that's not too hard. Most players just flip a coin or roll dice or whatever to decide who loses, so he just does that and lives to fight another day. It's great. In episode 4, contestants play games and the winners choose people to come with them to the private island. So Chillboy, who's a pretty nice guy I guess, is one of the 20 people who just get chosen this way. That's it.
It's gonna be 4-5-3.
4-5-3?
If that's too hard though, if Chillboy was too sleepy to make any friends at all, there's actually another way he could skate by. There's a challenge where players have to balance a glass object and all the teams who try this fail, so lucky for Chillboy, the optimal strategy yet again is just to take another little nap and wait for the challenge to be over. Chillboy's snoozing. Either way, Chillboy's on to episode 5, and this is one he's pretty excited for because he can just choose not to try to win the private island. That's easy. Chillboy skates through.
Do you want a chance at a $1.8 million private island?
No. Episode 6, there's a game of chance. Chillboy chooses to play it. He lucks out. Congratulations, Chillboy. Episode 7, this is the trolley problem one. Nobody puts Chillboy on the tracks. People just kind of forget about him. Easy peasy. He's snoozing. Episode 8, nobody sent home, so yet another sweet rest tape for Chillboy. He needed this. He's been exerting himself lately. Episode 9, so in this one, Chillboy needs to be voted through by the other players. And I'd say this is probably Chillboy's hardest episode. There's probably some skill involved in rallying the other contestants. There's a reason I think it's the best episode. Still, Chillboy could easily squeak through, right? After all, only 4 out of 10 people are eliminated this round, and 2 of those people chose to take a bunch of money in the last episode. So I think Chillboy is a really good shot of getting through. I mean, he's a good guy. He's not a bad guy, he's just tired. And now we're back to the finale. In the first game, Chillboy stands there while people throw balls in each other's tubes. In the second, he doesn't try to memorize the pattern, obviously, he's literally sleepy. And in the third, you know, he doesn't take the bribe. Chillboy has now made it to the last game of the last episode of this entire show, and what did he have to do? Like nothing. That's crazy. It is crazy that in a show called Beast Games, a show about playing fun games, there are this many opportunities to take a little nap. To be clear, I'm not saying either of these two final players took the Chillboy path, that they literally did nothing in 10 episodes. But that's also not that far from the truth. For example, one of the finalists in the show, Jeff, didn't do much of anything. In episode 2, he stands quietly while another team drops a ball on the floor. I guess that counts as something. And in episode 6, he helps his team pull a big truck. Besides that, he's basically Chillboy. With few exceptions, it's extremely easy to progress through this game if you have 3 traits. First, a few people who like you. Second, a willingness to keep playing and not take a bribe. Third, luck. A lot of luck. So okay, what do you think the last game is? Do you think that Chillboy is gonna have to bring his A game? Mr. Beast brings in 10 suitcases. Each round, one player puts a check for $10 million in one of the suitcases, and the other has to guess which suitcase has the money. Luckily for him, the first suitcase Jeff picks, number 6, has the $10 million. Jeff wins the game. Look, I'm not going to deny that it's kind of entertaining that Jeff won with his very first pick, and I think it's fortunate for the show that it went down that way. It makes his win feel intentional. It makes it seem like he was really good at reading Twana.
1 in 10 chance. Did you read her like a book?
Still, design-wise, this feels like nothing. For one thing, we have no idea, honestly, why Jeff chose suitcase number 6. Maybe he read Twana like a book, or maybe, maybe he didn't. Maybe, as Jeff says, he just thought 6 was kind of an inconspicuous number.
I think this number's special to her. I think that's one of the reasons why it is.
Jeff said in a later interview that number 6 was a lucky number for him, the number of words in his prayer, the number of his bunk. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe the guy has a lucky number. But also, what do these players even do? Like, as a viewing experience, what makes this feel clever or tactical or whatever? Jeff just asks, is the money in this suitcase?
Did you put it in 5?
And Twana's like, I don't know. Maybe.
I might have.
And then he does it again, and that's it. When Jeff does pick the right suitcase, Mr. Beast says this.
You play tested this game dozens and dozens and dozens of times. It usually went like 5 or 6 rounds.
And I think that's pretty revealing. Like, yeah, of course he thought that this game would go like 6 rounds. That's a number of rounds that makes choosing the right case by chance more likely than not. Because as much as he likes to pretend otherwise, Mr. Beast knows that what we're watching here is just a guy picking a number. It's a 3 out of 10. In the final episode of Beast Games, Mr. Beast gives this speech about the themes of his show, and I'm gonna play at least some of it here.
Beast Games was created with a purpose. In its purest form, its existence is a sandbox of the 1,000 different stories, of the 1,000 different players, all here for the same thing. Each and every player, whether they wanted to or not, made choices. Choices of whether to walk away for personal gain. Choices to elect their leaders. And choices of which of their friends deserve to stay. To calculate the millions, possibly billions of decisions made by these players is impossible.
So I haven't stopped thinking about this little speech for the last few weeks, and that's because there's something I find opaque, almost incomprehensible about it. First of all, that's a lie, isn't it? The point of this show is not choices. It's not to show off 1,000 unique stories. Yes, people made choices on his show, but almost none of these decisions are particularly interesting or thought-provoking or complicated. Which game do you choose to play? Which players do you choose to talk to? Which player did you make captain? Did you take a bribe? Maybe on some show these choices could feel big and important, but here they don't. Here they feel meaningless. And that's because, duh, the actual point of this show is that Mr. Beast is giving away a lot of money. That's the one idea that Jimmy cares about. There are bribes on the table, and coin flips, and Money Lion sponsorships, and $10 million, and new records being set. That is the priority. That's the theme, if you want to call it a theme. But also, why does a reality show like this need a theme? Why is Mr. Beast telling me any of this? Does Who Wants to Be a Millionaire have a complicated theme, or is that a show about getting trivia questions right? Does American Idol have a theme, or is that a show about being a good singer? Does Survivor have a theme, or is the game the theme? Is our interest in the show's mechanics enough to justify us watching it? Indeed, when you look at Mr. Beast's videos, the ones you find on YouTube, they are, for the most part, completely pointless, and I don't say that pejoratively. What is the capital P point of watching people of different ages compete for some money, or of watching a guy trying to protect a yacht? As of my writing this, Mr. Beast's most recent video is called Last to Leave Their Circle Wins $500,000, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's fine. I had an okay time watching it, and I think a child audience would have a way better time. The contestants have to walk on a balance beam and hold their feet in the air and shoot paintballs. There's this 12-year-old Geo, and they're really funny and absolutely do not care about anyone else's need to win $500,000.
My money's going towards kids, so y'all are taking it out of their hands as well.
I'm a kid.
It's good. I'm genuinely happy when Geo wins. It's completely pointless. The tragedy of Beast Games is not that it's trash TV, it's that it's less than trash TV. A show with so little to offer its audience that at the very end, its host feels the need to look at us and say, wow, wasn't that something? Wasn't that important and deep? Wasn't that quite an adventure? Look at all the choices people made. Don't you guys love that? Don't you guys love the abstract concept of choices? And it's like, no, I don't. I like it when TV is fun. Okay, that's it. That's all I had to say about Beast Games. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, you know? And if you really liked it, maybe try to give me some money on Patreon or Nebula. I do a bonus video every month there. And this month, it's not released yet, but this month, I'm going to talk about the other Mr. Beast videos associated with Beast Games. So there's like kind of a secret first episode of Beast Games I didn't talk about in this video. And there's another Beast-related Beast Games related game that I'm going to talk about. Is going to be pretty good, I think. I'm actually phasing out Patreon questions of the video. There's going to be another special perk that you'll find out about soon, I think. So this could very well be the last Patreon question of the video. So, you know, let's hope it's a good one. Rory asks, how do you pull off that disheveled hobo look so well, you hairy, beautiful bastard? It's the perfect balance between unhinged lunatic and culture genius, all without giving a hint of an incel cum factory look. How do you do it? I wish I could tell you, Rory. It just comes to me naturally. Wow. What a beautiful tradition this has been. If you're curious what it's going to be, by the way, I'm going to do monthly Q&A videos over on Little Joel for my patrons, I think. But you'll see about that. Okay. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was just a breeze to write, man. Bye.